You can't look at me right now and tell me that this German advert for Sonic Adventure 2 Battle isn't the most raw advert you've seen for anything in your entire life. And that's just off visuals alone. I got my German friend to translate the text over here and it just keeps on getting better. The prophecy was heralded. With the arrival of the Dark Hedgehog, the end of the world is near. I think I just got my first tattoo idea. The 2000s were so cool, man. Mainly because that's when I was born, but it was also home to some of the most influential and beloved games of all time. But for these games to have such a legendary status, they actually had to sell copies. How did they let people know about their games? Commercials, but also print ads. You read the title while this leading up to anything else. I spent a few weeks looking at the most interesting print ads of this generation, and a few from the last generation, and decided to split them up into 3 categories. We've got funny and obscure. Yes, this is Crash Bandicoot getting an Xbox tattoo from a large bald man while holding a teddy bear. And yes, this would convince me to buy the Breath of Cortex and an Xbox. Next up, we've got cool concepts, like this small child stuck in a cube. Some say he's still stuck there to this day. And finally, we have women, brackets, derogatory. This kinda speaks for itself. I swear this is for a video game. I also figured that since I like making cool stuff, and you like looking at cool stuff, at the end of each category, we're gonna take a modern video game and make a print ad in the style that we just looked at. This should be interesting. Heading back to Sonic Adventure 2 for a second, there were actually a ton of really cool ads for the game. But we're not allowed to look at this right now, this looks too good. Here, have a version covered in piss instead. Why this god-awful yellow? Beats me, but if they wanted to turn some heads, I guess they did a good job. They just better hope the heads they turned on blind now. Also, don't think we're done with this. Yes, it's ridiculous, but I'm not lying when I say I think this might be one of my favorite magazine adverts of all time. No advert nowadays would have these spiky blue balls to conjure up something as insane as this. This advert just gets crazier the longer you look at it. Sonic and Shadow just floating in the ethereal light and darkness over Earth. On Sonic's side, we have several doves of varying sizes flying into battle, backed up by a rabbit, deer, cherubs, and a fucking unicorn? Why is he so realistic? The contrast here is so fucking funny. Then on the dark side, we have your classic Sonic bad guys helping out Shadow like Wolf, Snake, the Devil? What makes this even funnier is that it does actually follow some design fundamentals with the composition and the hierarchy, but this is what they chose to do with it? There's also solo versions. Now, I'm not entirely sure if these came as a double page spread or if they were just played separately, but these are so goddamn funny. It looks like Sonic died and went to heaven, or actually hell. Looking at this by itself without the contrast from the evil version, and it just looks like he's about to be engulfed in flames. I think a bit of blue in the background would have done this wonders. On Shadow's version, the stock lens flares and the lightning bolts are so good, man. If he wasn't the edgiest hedgehog before, then you bet your ass he will be after he takes you to the dark side. Where did we go from here? What could possibly compete with... Oh yeah, muscle. Whoa! Crash is back and he's all pumped up and ready to rumble. I knew Crash was taking something, just look at that build. My man is huge. I will say though, I am a little bit disappointed that we never got a follow-up advert with dudes built like Crash. That would have been the icing on the cake. The fact that practically nothing was off limits when it came to marketing back in the 2000s means you can get super wacky with everything. Can you believe that Crash went from bodybuilding in Crash 2 to arsed out in the hospital for Alpha Cortex? All in the span of 4 years too, poor guy. This now brings up the question, does Crash now have canonical medical issues as a direct result of all these substances he took to get jacked back in Crash 2? Can we get a conspiracy thread going in the comments? I'd love to see some theories. I think this woman captures the only appropriate reaction to seeing Crash like this. And also, the only appropriate reaction to seeing Crash like this. I'm mainly just upset that this tattoo wasn't part of his model in the game. Now, if they didn't want to have him have tattoos in this game, then fine, so be it, but at least add it to his sleeve for the games where he does have tattoos. A bit of false advertising if you ask me. This was Crash's first romp into the world of Xbox after being PlayStation exclusive for so long. And what a better way to announce that your game is on another platform than to get their logo permanently engraved onto your body. Well, at least there'll never be another Xbox logo. It's actually quite cute to think that he's completely fine spinning into metal, but tattoos hurt him so much that he needs an emotional support teddy. He's just like me for real. Finishing up with Crash, we have this ad here from Twinsanity. Steve-O from Jackass? I mean, I guess that makes sense since Twinsanity is just physical abuse of the video game, but I don't know if that's weirder or the fact that Cortex looks a little too happy spanking Crash here. And here. That's 2 times too many. Let's move away from this. Ah, much better. Racism! What better way to announce the release of the new white PSP than having a white woman putting a black woman in her place? I felt racist just reading that. This wasn't just a one-off either. This was a whole ass ad campaign with several shots, even having some of them up on billboards. As absurd as these are conceptually, they do have elements that actually work really well, as much as I hate to admit it. Like, color contrast here is used really well, and spreading out the UI of the PSP throughout ties it into the brand properly while also adding to the black versus white contrast. She is absolutely scared for her life here though. I don't even want to know what happened in the rest of the photo shoot. On a more light-hearted note, yes, you can tell Pikachu to run, dance, and fish. No, you can't tell Pikachu to do your homework. Okay, well, fuck you, Pikachu. This one's cute. Definitely appeals to you if you're a kid in the 90s, and I'm sure the parents buying the game got a little chuckle out of it too. It also makes for some very funny edits. Have you ever wondered what it would be like if Heihachi from Tekken was in a turtleneck trying to sell you a pink translucent Game Boy while advertising the Pac-Man collection? Why? Well, here's your lucky day. Of course Nina and Jin are here too because why wouldn't they be? And they're all dripped out from head to toe, showing off their fancy new gaming systems. These ones get me so much because, I mean, just look at them, the Photoshop job is so bad. Heihachi's face doesn't even look on model here, he just looks like a robot chicken apparently. This is very silly, but I have to admit I do love seeing characters from any game in casual clothing. Even when it isn't done properly, it's still very charming. What isn't charming is the smell of literal shit as you try to read Nintendo Power. This isn't a bit because this game stinks. So I had never seen this ad before, but apparently this is an infamous magazine spread from issue 74 of Nintendo Power, where to promote Earthbound, you know, the game with the funny guy in Smash Bros, they made a bunch of scratch and sniff stickers that let you sniff around on it. Apparently some of these reeked, so I guess the massive fart cloud going across the entire 2 pages is pretty fitting, but I just want to know what this has to do with the game. Now, I haven't played any of the Earthbound games, but with such a dedicated cult following, this surely can't be the reason why, right? Right? Still, I gotta give it props for having the absolute balls to just fart inside a magazine and sell it to kids. I don't know how scratch and sniff works, I'm guessing it's something like that. And I guess the 90s were pretty big on gross out humor, so this might actually be one of the best and most original ones yet. Speaking of gross, I don't really want to elaborate. I'll just let you sit here with this for a second. Oh god, why are they hairy? Wait, I just noticed a man coming into the house on the top right. What is the implication here? Is she being walked in on, caught fooling around with some weirdly hairy skin like PlayStation controller buttons? I hate this even more now. Are there any adverts with a man and a woman that aren't weird? Maybe if you didn't play with that worm so much. Earthworm Jim, causing erectile dysfunction since 1994. But Susan, I have Klonoa. Hey baby, I want Klonoa. Surely they wouldn't market Klonoa by referring to him like he's an STI. Once you've got Klonoa, you won't want to get rid of it. I don't think I want Klonoa anymore. Also, this somehow still isn't even the most egregious thing here. Do you want to see the full second page? Why are you just in a circle laughing and pointing after you just gave this poor couple Klonoa? You should be ashamed of yourself. I just need to know if this would look better with Klonoa actually in the main image with the 2 main people. Just give me a sec. And yeah, maybe it's best you stay trapped in your round little prison. Hi Karen, let's go surfing. No Barbie, I can't stop playing clacks. Yeah Bobby, get lost. Have fun surfing while I play clacks on my Atari links. I don't think they ever actually said any of these words out loud, because if they did, I can guarantee you this ad would not have been made. Who makes a better hero? SpongeBob or a guy named Bob? I have square pants. I'm not wearing pants. Please tell me a bro doesn't just have his schmeat out at the Battle for Bikini Bottom photo shoot. And speaking of schmeat, no arms, no legs, huge features. I didn't think I'd be saying this, but Rayman is packing some schmeat. That thing is turning heads, it's so huge. Just look at that smirk on his face, he knows what he's got. This isn't even the weirdest Rayman advert. There's one for Rayman 2 that just makes me genuinely upset. Hello ladies, fancy a foursome? What is that in his mouth? I think he's already gotten started. In case you're questioning if this is real or not, it's in French too, and nobody would bother making something fake in French. And there's even another French one that roughly translates to, it's beautiful, it's fluid, it moves well, it's like me. What? Yeah, what? Back to this one for a sec. Why a foursome specifically and not like a threesome? I'm assuming person 1 is you, obviously. Person 2 is Rayman because, as previously established, bro is packing. But who are the other two? I thought maybe it's a joke about how it's a 4-player game, but nope, it's single player. Maybe he's talking to the reader, or I guess 2 readers? But like, who reads magazines with other people at the same time? Did I mention these are babies? Yeah, that's not a joke. I thought he was just a red glow box, but he's actually the child of Glowbox. The baby child of Glowbox. Okay, moving on before we all get arrested. Fuck, what's something that's not illegal? Heroin kills. Damn, I need me some heroin! Speaking of illegal substances, the Nintendo 64 tests positive for performance enhancers. This one's pretty funny, I like it. If there's any way to advertise something like an expansion pack, you might as well put it as simply as possible. It's like your N64 on steroids, but a lot less illegal. These have been some pretty quirky ads so far, if I do say so myself. Oh, excuse me, I was just epically gaming on my Game Boy Advance SP Tribal Edition. Come on, I couldn't not include this. If it's cool enough for Mario. Damn right it's cool enough for me! Man, I've gotten so many tattoos today! This one is still baffling to me. I can't believe Mario got this tattoo back in 2004, then got a laser removed before Odyssey. It suited him so well! Imagine he just kept getting new tattoos for each new console special edition. Mario would have been covered by now! This is what we could have had! There's another advert from a bit before this where he's promoting milk. This wasn't for a game or anything. Mario just really wants your bones to grow. Drink up! Are you ready for another advert featuring a large Italian man? You weren't ready, were you? Why is he so wide? You like at this game where we slap you face. I genuinely don't know what to say about this. It's just so over the top that any response I have will be underwhelming in comparison. And I don't want this man to be hiding in my walls, so I think it's best if we move on to another Italian. Yeah, hanging with the bling bling king. Bro is iced out! You ain't got ice like this! Hell, even I ain't got ice like this! And I got a lot of ice! I no longer wish to be an artist or post videos online. My one new true goal in life is to get jacked as shit and rich as hell, so maybe one day I too can have a random Nintendo character's head put on top of my head and be used to advertise a platformer. Do you know what else I want? Balls! Tell Santa you want balls for Christmas. I think I will! And once I'm done enjoying my balls, I think I'll kick back with a bit of music. Now me, I love hip hop. I grew up in it and it's my favourite genre by far. If you need some albums to listen to, here's a couple of recommendations. Why don't we check out a game about rapping? I'm sure Parappa the Rapper had some funky adverts back in the day. This one's in Spanish, but if I get my Spanish friend to translate, white people can't rap? Who wants to bet? I didn't think Parappa was white. I thought bro was mixed with a little something, but yeah, sure, you show him Parappa. There's some damn solid white rappers out there. You've got LP, Mac Miller, Half of Logic. There's another Parappa ad here from the sequel, and... Is that the guy who made Illmatic? I don't have much to say about the next one. Just that I thought this image of Jack standing next to an old British man on the top hat was funny. This one is pretty fitting for Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. Notice how the logo is fucking awful, and the rest of the advert is awful to match. It's not just the weapons that are scary, it's who they belong to. Social commentary. This one is funny to me because, like, I get what they're going for here. Dangerous Lombax with some dangerous guns, but like, why wouldn't you just include things that are actually scary? Why is the swing shot here? Or the trespasser? Or the taunter? There are definitely enough weapons in the game to replace these here, and swinging around hardly counts as lethal. You know what is lethal though? He's a hero. But whose hero? Please don't hurt me, Shadow, I'll join the dark side, I swear! Jeez, man. What's with this guy and his unnecessarily crisp render? We have one more obscure advert left, and I bet you any fucking money you will not be able to guess what this is. It's time for some new heroes. That's right, using pensioners to market Sonic heroes, baby, woo! Slippery gameplay and even slipperier marketing. Man, I love Sega. These have all been really out there, but they're all still stuck to design fundamentals, using appropriate fonts, proper visual hierarchies, and color harmony to tie everything in together and make it cohesive, despite the bulk of the content being this. To kick off our own first advert, I thought we ought to start with one of my all-time favorite games, Hades. Now if you've played Hades, you know this game is overflowing with personality, charm, and chiseled abs, and I think we can use a bit of that in our advert. Most of the ads that we looked at had very weird taglines, so I think we'll make that the main focus of our own ad. A well-designed bit of artwork with a single line of text that makes you question your sanity. Without further ado, my take on a 2000s Hades advert is here. Hades, a weirdly sexy family reunion. I hope you hate it as much as I do. The last set of adverts were very out there in very funny or raunchy ways, but these are just the pinnacle of creativity. Starting off with Jet Set Radio, you can't tell me this isn't one of the most creative print ads you've ever seen. I love the blend between the real life photography and the cartoonish 2D details, and I wouldn't expect anything less from a franchise like Jet Set. Spray painting over pensioners and then running away captures the vibe of the game so well, and I just love how he painted it around the dog here. That's such a cute little detail. Honestly, this is a 10 out of 10. You wanna see another perfect advert? You can't escape it, this ad is so good I have to show up twice! And now that that's out of the way, I think it's best to rapid fire through the rest of the cool ads. I could spend 24 hours straight just hyper-analyzing why these are all at the pinnacle of creativity, but I value your time. And my time. Mainly my time. So think of these as more of a palate cleanser before we get on to the next section. The only thing worse than the weight of the world on your shoulders is the weight of the moon. This goes so hard, and the fact that the moon spreads across both pages really emphasizes how fucking massive it is and how imminently close to doom you are. Fantastic ad. Parappa's back, and while it's less funny than some of the others, this one gets the vibe of the game across immediately in a way that fits the aesthetic of the game perfectly. Now, I have no idea how to read sheet music, but I don't think Flower Moose Moose is a legit music note. If I had a copy of this as a kid, I'd definitely be putting it up on the wall. Hell, as an adult, I still would. The random render of this woman here kinda interrupts the cool psychedelic design, but I'll let it slide because the rest of the design is so sick. Shouts out to SSX Tricky for real. The regular SSX had a pretty nice ad too. Just look at how the movement of the gameplay follows the flow of the snowboard. The logo blending into the goggles here too looks wicked. I love whoever thought of that. Fuck it, Wario Spoon. I imagine this is what the dev team had for breakfast before coming up with all the microgames because, oh boy would that explain a lot. Can somebody help? I've got badly photoshopped PlayStation buttons in my eyes. I like the idea though. You can do quite a lot with the iconic PlayStation shapes, like this one here where they imitate the Hollywood sign. Somebody help. Who keeps photoshopping shapes into my eyes? Please stop doing this! This one is a lot better than the PlayStation one at least, and the super close-up view gives it a different, more unnerving vibe, which is an interesting choice for the GameCube when you're promoting games like Monkey Ball, but I still think the concept is cool. In Tekken we trust. Oh, we ballin' now! I've got my motherfucking Tekken money up, you ain't on this? This is one of the most raw adverts to ever come out of Namco, or any brand for that matter, and I will not be elaborating. From now on, I refuse to talk to anybody who does not have 100 Yoshimitsu dollars in their bank account. Oracle of Seasons and Ages. 2 games on the same engine, kinda like a Diamond and Pearl situation, so you have Link cutting a Game Boy Color in half to represent the 2 parts. What do I say about this? This is genius. My next take might be a bit controversial because everyone I've shown this advert to absolutely hated it, but for me personally, I genuinely think that this next one might be my absolute favourite so far. Fun fact, this poster is what made me make this video. Its blend of crude, cartoonish cutouts and vibrant fun colours match the chaotic feeling of a Mario Party game so well. I really hope there's someone out there that agrees with me here because I swear I can't be the only one who sees how good this is. Game Boy Christmas Tree Topper. I don't know how sturdy that is, but man do I want one. Game Boy cosplaying as a Fire Emblem character. Not a sentence I thought I'd ever say, but it makes for a very fun and thematic advert. If they ever do this again with like the Switch or something, they should make the character design more accurate. Game Boy cosplaying as a Final Fantasy character. This was a weird couple years for the Game Boy, huh? Game Boy trapping small creatures and being quite happy about it. This is a neat little Pokemon ad. A lot more minimalistic than what I would have expected given the year it came out, and the amount of crazy stuff that they could have done with Pokemon, but I do like the idea of all the little guys being locked up in gay baby jail, so that gets a pass from me. Though I do prefer this Pokemon Red and Blue ad, where all the Pokemon are just very crudely photoshopped in to look like they're traveling across the link cable. Just look at Meowth, man, somebody help him up! Pokemon Snap. I'm glad this was with the original 151 because Lord knows, if certain Pokemon were out at this time, this ad could have been a whole lot different. Something's creepy in the cube. Yeah, it's this kid and he's been stuck here for weeks. Does somebody want to get him out? This one's cool. I like how creatively they're using the unique shape of the GameCube for the marketing and how this kid has his own little poltergeist. Sometimes you need to split up to get the job done. I hate how clever of an advert this toilet joke is. Fuck you, Banjo-Tooie. There's one for the original Banjo-Kazooie that also looks really cool. Hey, bear tracks. This either leaves you very confused if you have no clue what this is, or you get a good chuckle out of it if you do. Very creative concept. I love this Animal Crossing one because it just treats it like an actual house in an actual town. There's another one here too for some lost glasses. I wonder how many kids tried to call this number back in the day. Here we have Crash taking a fun little trip to Seattle to show off how much better his game is than anything Nintendo has outside Nintendo's headquarters before being escorted away. Again, I love how ballsy these ads were back in the 2000s. It reminds me of the classic Sega does what Nintendo don't. Mostly harmless at the end of the day, but you know this definitely got people talking. Crash is back with another advert for Wrath of Cortex. These Crash Bandicoot Xbox adverts are so good. I love how this is literally just two colours together and you immediately know what's up. Banger ad. The Fast and the Furious? I think you mean the Fast and the Mischievous. This is so silly, why does he look like this? I just put this ad here because I like the idea of Crash driving next to an actual real life car. While we're mixing video games with real life, have you guys seen the Who Are You ad campaign that Nintendo did during the run of the Game Boy Advance? This might be up there with the best of the best. It's taking shots of people in real life doing real life things, and then very playfully taping over them with different Nintendo characters with the text, "Who are you?" to show that you at home, yes, you, could be Mario. That's you! Showing such a wide range of people being able to express and identify themselves through Nintendo characters shows the widespread appeal of the characters, but also giving us some fucking classics like holy shit, the president can be epic? Also, this Kirby one is just wicked, love this shit, and the composition on the Metro one is mwah, very tasty. Remember the piss-covered Sonic Adventure 2 ad from earlier? Well, here it is again with 100% less piss. Good Hedgehog. Evil, sinister, malcontent hedgehog. The binary opposition between both sides just works so well, and the simplistic color scheme gets the good versus evil across perfectly. This ad knows how much of a bastard it is, and I love it for that. Sonic Heroes also got a really cool looking ad. Another one that I'd absolutely have up on my wall if I could. The simple block colors behind all the characters make them pop so nicely, and it showcases the variety of playable characters at a glance very well. It's just pizza? What did you think it was? I was very torn on whether to put this in funny and obscure or women derogatory, but all the Catherine games are rated M, so I think it's a funny and smart way to do your advertising. It also makes perfect use out of the leaflet fold. You gotta give it props for creativity and using the paper medium so well. If this had nothing to do with the game, it would absolutely be in the next section, but using a cheeky bait and switch with some incredibly cheesy pizza for a game that features stuff like this? Yeah, I think the concept is kinda cool, and it will lead us perfectly into the next section. But first, let's make our own cool advert. If there's one game that would have had the most insane marketing back in the 2000s, you know it's Splatoon. I know. I've already made a Splatoon poster on the channel before after ranking all the drip in the game, but I can't get enough of these silly little squids. I figured we'd make the advert based on Splatoon 3 since it's the latest one, but there's so much of the game from Turf War to Salmon Run to Alterna. How do you pick what to include? Like this. I figured our best bet was to just take the overall playful aesthetic of the game with all this graffiti and stickers to create a fun and bizarre advert. The 2000s had a lot of ads with characters in the real world, so I thought giving a realistic squid a heavy splatting would be kinda funny. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for, or dreading, it's... For context, in case this is the first piece of media you have ever consumed, women have been historically objectified in advertising to sell products, especially in the video game industry. Controversial take, but I think dehumanizing people is bad. And you know it's gonna be bad when I have to add derogatory to the name of this section. But surely it can't be that bad, right? I mean, we've already had to deal with this, how much worse can it get? You have got to be kidding me. This is the funniest use of 2 pages in a magazine I have ever seen, and I can guarantee too that some people just saw the first page and were like, damn, I need this immediately. I let this slide because while you could argue that they're both using these to sell their game, at least Catherine used the ads in a funny little bait and switch kind of way, and the actual game itself has a loading screen like this. It's a horny ass game, so it makes sense to have some horny ass marketing. Trap Gunner on the other hand, looks like this. I bet they made this one cutscene in the game just so they could have an A4 page that says booby. What do you think this is an advert for? Surely it's another M-rated game if they're using a woman in a shower to market it, right? Sly Cooper? Bro literally stole her towel, look at this! In what way does this relate to Sly at all, other than the fact that he steals things? This is like making an advert for a Kirby game where he's just sucking somebody up because, oh, sucking is his thing, right? I mean, at least she had a blue shower curtain to match Sly, that's something, right? Yes, these are gonna keep getting worse. Oh wait, this one actually doesn't seem too bad. Just a few women dressed up like they're in different video games, that's actually pretty cool. Which one takes your fancy? Game Boy Advance SP. For men. Oh, you're not talking about what video game takes my fancy, are you? Objectifying women isn't very epic of you, Nintendo. In case you didn't notice, there's a beautiful, naked woman on this page. Oh, there is? I was too busy looking at NHL Power Play 96 by Virgin Interactive Entertainment Inc. When you've got Sega Saturn's triple 32-bit processing power, nothing else matters. Yeah, there's no time for this stupid hot girl, I'll be too busy gaming! Bada boom bada bing, know what I mean? Unfortunately I do, which is why I'm moving on. Fighting Vipers! Storm in the D-Cup! Is the tagline of this game just stating a character's bra size? Oh, of course it was for the Sega Saturn. They really were on some shit back in the day. Pray for a full frontal assault. I don't think I will, Sudeki from Climax Games. It's funny when Ratchet and Clank have it as part of the titles because, I mean, come on. Going Commando, Size Matters, Full Frontal Assault. Their whole thing is having tongue-in-cheek innuendos in their E-rated games about a furry with way too many guns and his robot friend. This is just a crime. Touch me, talk to me, stroke me. Project Rob. You'll have to use the power of touch, voice, and even your breath to bring this game to its climax. 12 plus. Please don't market your climax to children. I thought you knew better, Sonic Team. No one's surprised this story is capable of 13 climaxes. The game industry really loved the word climax, didn't they? Even the director said, and I quote, "I just wished that they would have followed up with ads that portray the actual game itself." The entire ad campaign was like this, by the way, and spoiler alert, this doesn't happen in the game. Next up we have Beach Spikers for the GameCube. Ah yes, that is some quality gameplay. The game where you and 3 buddies all get to be heroes. Only thing is, one of you has to be the chick. Nice rack, dude! Is this all women are to some people? Don't answer that. You know what? I'm gonna just come out and say it. This might be a bit controversial, so if you feel like unsubscribing afterwards, then feel free. I, Aurastar, think that women have more value than their bodies. And now that I've delivered that brave stance, surely there will be no more adverts objectifying or commodifying women. Whoa! Crash! Not you too! And now I have to make one of these? Alright, let me channel my inner gamer and come up with the most misogynistic thing I can think of. I can't do it, man. I just have too much respect for Overwatch. You know there's a game too, right? Whenever there's a new Overwatch character revealed, within 1 nanosecond there are already 700 fully rendered 4K cinematic masterpieces of the new character getting their back blown out. Or so I've heard. And I remember seeing a tweet from the comment sections of one of these videos saying, wait, these guys are from a video game? And considering this chart of the most searched naughty terms in 2016, it genuinely wouldn't surprise me if that comment wasn't a joke. Oh boy, a lot of those were weird. If you want to see more obscure design stuff, I made a video creating weird design stuff. And I've also made videos making good design stuff too. Subscribe or Crash will steal your wife. Whoa!